What is going on? I'm zmot. We are on the main base at the moment. Today is all about rocket choppas. In your armory, in case you haven't gone there, we've got the rocket choppas. Now, I believe you need to be armory level 13 in order to get these puppies. Now, one major difference, you'll notice that the unit size is 14. We can get 2 of them into a landing craft on the main base. Over here on the warship side, this is my other account, by the way, that I've been alluding to all along. See, we've got 2 chests waiting that will not be in the video today. 199 keys just waiting so patiently to go into that engine room, into the medics, over to troop damage, down to rocket choppas. But you'll notice that way over here, if you have a look at these landing crafts, they're only level 22. So warships has not mirrored the HQ-24 goodness. So on the warship side, you can only get 1 of them in the boat. On the main base side, if you are maxed to the max, you get to have 2 of them in the boat. We are going to do a ridiculously silly and quick map clear using these things. Now, for low levels, they're even stronger simply because there are fewer defenses that can range air, but you got to be a little bit clever about them. I will put in the cards right now. Boom. My other video on how to use them for low levels. I believe I have such a thing anyways. We are going to be using bullet with shock knuckles just to get in front of those scorchers, and we're just going to drop. Now, there are many troop loadouts to use depending on what tickles your fancy, as they say. Now, one thing to be aware of is these things are the fastest troop in the game. I'm pretty sure. I could very well be wrong, but the last time I checked, I'm being a little bit lazy on this video. They were the fastest troop in the game, so you need your Scorchers to get the heck up the beach before you drop your Rocket Choppas, or you're going to have a bad time. And Scorchers on their own obviously would crush everything's hopes and dreams, but the beautiful thing about Rocket Choppas is they don't care about things like shock launchers or flamethrowers or mortars, so if you plan them incredibly well, which I know all of my subscribers to do because they are full of some big brain goodness, you can crush bases. Now, one of our members was saying that they soloed a ransom yesterday using Rocket Choppas, which makes perfect sense because you can get in behind the core. You can, and then there's some shock launchers you have to worry about below the core, but shock launchers can't see rocket choppas, so of course just cruising through some easy victories. So if you have hit an operation attack with your rocket choppas and you were like, that blew my mind, amazingness, please do hit me up in the comments. Let me know how you're using them, what you're using them on. I have not been using them a heck of a lot, simply because doing high-level operations doesn't really often give a lot of space for doing silly, stupid things, and I just haven't had time to hop into other task forces yet. So that is something I will be doing if time allows for it. Now, that hotpot can't see our rocket choppas. If you're wondering why the heck I'm using what's that thing called, shock knuckles, after poo-pooing it for so long, the reason is that it actually gets bullet in line with the Scorchers. If you don't use shock knuckles, he just kind of hides behind the Scorchers, and then they end up taking all the fire for him, which defeats the purpose of using bullet. So shock knuckles are the one way to make, see how he just kind of hangs out behind them, is the one way to make bullet actually get in front, even for a second or so. And if he doesn't get in front, at least he shocks things that are nearby, which is also helpful and usually cheap-ish compared to a shock. They get expensive fast, as you can see by the fact they're 27 GBE down there, but nonetheless, do get your Rocket Choppas out for a spin. They are fun and fast, and let's just check in the armory if they've actually updated them to say they're fast, because before, yeah, look at that, movement speed, slow. And in Boom Beach's tweet recently, they even said something about them being fast. So these are, I think, the fastest troop in the game, and Boom Beach lists them as being slow. I don't know what sort of ridiculousness that is, but I get a bit of a chuckle out of it. Now we're going to switch to all Rocket Choppas because now, should there be a flying hero? That would be an easy add, but it would be fairly useless, although it would not die to mines, which maybe we need a flying hero. I don't really know. This is the first time I've actually thought of that. Let me know in the comments what you think about the idea of a flying hero. If you think it would be good, bad. You'll notice they don't like to stay underneath one smoke very well, but because they're so fast, you can gap your smokes a little bit. Should be mostly okay. Now, Brick is probably going to die, which is going to be a problem. But once we're back here, we can just cruise through. Brick is actually dead. See what I mean about a flying hero that can keep up with rocket choppas and heavy choppas and burn through all of the things? Possibly a good idea. We'll have to wait and see what you guys think about that. But see this? Shock launchers can't see the rocket choppas, so do consider using them to smoke to the back of the base, because you're going to have a good time and nothing's going to be able to kill them. Now, those rocket launchers will kill them if you give them enough time. I think we've already lost 3-4 of them. But overall, a useful strategy, because many bases are so weak from the back. They need to work on some sort of exercise. I guess I don't really know where I was going with that one, but nonetheless, use some rocket choppas, sneak them around the back. Now let's just have a look and see what we can do with these puppies. This person has a corner base, so we could... The other cool thing about rocket choppas is they can fly over things, quite obviously. Notice you can actually avoid a whole bunch of defenses by going around the outside. We're not going to do that for this one because there's no reason to go far, far left. We're going to come and try and hit this thing from the back using rocket choppas. Now, rocket choppas cost a decent amount of gunboat energy. We're talking about 8 per, which adds up pretty quickly. So we're only down to 47 GBE, which means that getting to the back of this base is going to be a little bit problematic, but thankfully we can smoke past most of this stuff. We can gap our smokes a little bit, just need to make sure that we keep all of these things alive as best as we can. We're going to throw 2 shocks out there. Brick is not going to make it, but thankfully we don't have to worry about those flamethrowers. Only really need... Actually, Brick is going to make it to that back. I'm kind of impressed here a little bit. Going to throw some critters out there, as all of our rocket choppas just hang out in that back corner. And they will occasionally back even further, like back by those pines there. I got to say, seeing the pines... Don't like the icy bases. I feel like I'm still in like that anger mode. I really am so happy that we have our mangroves back, simply because look at this base. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at all these fancy trees. We got monkeys jumping around in them. If you've never sat and watched your base, look for a tree to shake and then you can finally find a monkey. I don't think mine are going to come out because they know we're actually looking at them. Super shy. I've trained them to do all sorts of tricks, but they're just not going to do it today. Just that's how it happens. This person has a U in their statue layout. I don't know what that means. There are many statue layouts that mean something, whether it be an F for French or a shield for the Hopper Network or an English-based task force, but the U, I have no idea what that means. So sure, make up your own statue layout, but if you're looking to get some free intel and some free diamonds, there are some set statue loadouts that people are going to recognize. And if you're listening to me, it's probably going to be the Hopper Shield, because that's the biggest and most common English-based statue loadout. So there are lots and lots of ways to use rocket choppas. I would suggest throwing them through behind some scorchers, because not everyone is super duper proficient in smoking them, but just give them a shot. I highly recommend them. Nice change of pace, making the game a little bit more interesting and fun, and that's the beautiful thing about Proto Troops. Now, I wish the Proto Troops would come back based on what level you leveled them up to last time, but you got to remember that people are getting these things at HQ 13. So if the Rocket Choppas came back in a year, for example, that person could have upgraded their Armory 5 levels as opposed to their Rocket Choppas 1 level. So I can see why they're not coming back at the level we maxed them to. And if you're not sure how to max them, right in here, if you have a look at Dr. T, you'll see we get all of these proto tokens right here. Now, speaking of things to look at, please consider going and throwing zmot into your creator boost. It helps me a ton. It gives me warm and fuzzies. I will say thank you. I will shout you out. I will be very happy with you. And there's no other real benefits, sadly. I have petitioned the Boom Beach crew saying, like, can we give them, like, a free diamond or like a free decoration that says like I support zmot? Could you imagine if they made a decoration for each? Yeah, that would be amazing. So when you attack someone's base, you could actually look at their base and say, hey, that person supports zmot. I'm going to drop some diamonds and intel on them. Man, please, Supercell, that would be amazing. Would love that. I realize that it's a way, basically this creator boost is a way to give back, and I wish that I could add something to the game to give back to you for giving back, but then I suppose that would be far too meta and everyone would be giving back on giving back on giving back. So Anyways, we actually managed to get Brick into the play. She has like 1 health. Down goes Squiggles, Mick, Squiggles, just crushing all the bases using Rocket Choppas. Now, they don't have a ton of health, so you have to be a bit careful. That's why you just throw them behind Scorchers, then you don't have to worry about them at all. And speaking about worrying about them, you still can't save a troop loadout. So if you have a troop loadout that you absolutely hate and want to get rid of, for example, this one, I can just click save, and if we go back in and look, now it's empty. Nice, clean, empty troop loadout that we don't have to worry about. You'll notice it doesn't even save the hero when you save using Rocket Choppas. Bit of a glitch there, but nice, easy way to clear out an old troop loadout that you don't use. I think it's kind of silly and ridiculous, but at least we have some way to use it. Now, this base looks fairly challenging, actually, which is a nice change. I find that there's so many bases that are all the same. And now you'll hear me rant and rave about statues, and I really do appreciate people who have all offensive statues, and all offensive statues just make the world go round. But you run into so many bases that are an absolute cakewalk. And being all offensive and preaching for all offensive actually becomes a bit of an annoyance, because if everyone had all offensive statues, this game would be incredibly boring. So for those of you who have ice statues and do different silly things with your statues and like defending, then all the power to you, because you're actually making the game interesting, even though I wouldn't necessarily enjoy having you in our task force. So many things to use the game for. Apparently my wife has just started the car, so we're going to turn off our Bluetooth and carry on with destroying this base. So that is my video on Rocket Choppas. Let me know what troops you're using them with, how you're keeping them alive, and if you're just using them by themselves, because that is probably my preferred way to do it. But again, it all comes down to instant training, and instant training makes Boom Beach so much fun. It makes winning at warships that much easier, but I know it's not for everyone, and it's not exactly cheap. So nonetheless, as always, thank you for coming in. Do consider subscribing. That Rocket Choppa on the warships video should be coming out tomorrow, I would guess, although tomorrow is War Factory, so who really knows? Anyways, as you can see, there are 100 messages in chat. That is just from changing accounts. I am on chat on all of our task forces. Speaking of our task forces, I think we have a couple openings. Do check the description down below. Otherwise, I shall talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. I'm zmot. Peace.